Diana Miller, again, who's our Crime Victims Services Coordinator, is going to read the statements of Kathy Kingsbury and Stephen Kingsbury. Kathy Kingsbury would like to stand up with Ms. Miller while she reads that, if the court would allow that.
Sure. That's fine. Ms. Kingsbury. Ms. Miller, could you just state your full name and the victim's full name as well for the record?
Diana Miller, Katherine Kingsbury.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Your Honor. On April 4th, 2023, 5 days after Maddie was last seen alive, Social Services brought Ellie and Noah to the hotel where we were staying. The children let out squeals of joy when they saw so many of their family gathered together. They ran and played for hours. That night, they slept in bed next to Dave and me in our hotel room. In the middle of the night, Ellie started crying, "I want Mommy." Noah heard her and started whimpering, "Mommy, Mommy." I rushed to their bed to comfort them while trying the best that I could to hold in my tears and my anguish for their sake. Dave involuntarily let out a loud moan and ran to the bathroom to turn on the shower to try to muffle his guttural cries of agony. His wailing tore my heart to pieces. He couldn't bear to come out for 3 full hours. It was a horrific night that no one should ever have to experience in their lifetime. The only saving grace was that I was able to comfort the children and get them back to sleep right away. Notably, there were no more pleas for Daddy. 2 days earlier, Krista, Maddie's mom, had been sitting with us in our hotel room. We were 3 inconsolable parents seeking refuge with one another. We knew that Maddie would never voluntarily leave her children. Sorrow and agony overcame us, and Krista retreated to the bathroom and attempted to stifle her own guttural wails while I fought to manage my breathless sobbing. A parent's heartache at the loss of a child cannot be comforted. Our lives had forever been turned upside down. And this was only the first few days of the emotional torture that we endured after Maddie was deemed to be missing. We all cried until we couldn't cry anymore. Most of us couldn't sleep more than a couple of hours at a time, if at all. Eating was something that we forced ourselves to do. We ran out of words to say to each other. It's impossible to accurately describe the agony that we all suffered and our feelings of helplessness. We cannot thank the community enough for bringing food, providing housing, searching, plus so much more while we struggled to carry on each day. Dave and I spent the first 6 weeks in Winona to be near where Maddie had last been seen alive. This was very important to us. We eventually had to make the difficult decision to leave for the sake of the children and to get them back to our own home and more normalcy. The home where Maddie had grown up and that the children knew. It wasn't an easy decision to make because we felt like we were abandoning Maddie, since she had not yet been found. It was 69 days of pure torture, not knowing where Maddie's body had maliciously been hidden. She was out there in the snow, the rain, the heat, and yet Adam did not come clean, nor did he show any compassion or remorse. The heartache has been endless and compounded. On May 31st, 2023, we were back in Winona at a hotel, and we all eventually fell asleep. A few hours later, Ellie woke up and was unusually insistent that I lie down next to her, so I did. She held onto my arm so tightly that my arm went numb, but she went back to sleep. Noah was on the other side of the bed. He suddenly became distraught and restlessly started whimpering, "Mama, Mama," and extended one arm upwards as if reaching for something. He had not done this before. I checked my phone to see what time it was and saw that it was already after midnight. It was Maddie's birthday. We had not yet told the children that Mommy's birthday was that day. Possibly it was a coincidence that this happened. What do I know, though, and all too clearly? What I do know, though, and all too clearly, was the sick feeling I had in my stomach that night, and that this incident will forever be etched in my mind. By all accounts, Maddie's children are happy and thriving. Dave and I have been blessed to be able to be with them nearly every day since April 4th, 2023. Yet Ellie and Noah rightfully belong in the arms of their mother. All of us have made it our mission to be sure that they feel safe and secure and that they're grounded. Those of us who know them and see them regularly, if not daily, will tell you that you wouldn't know that the children have suffered the tragedy that they have. We're grateful for that, for their sake. They're young and resilient now and deserve to be happy as they are. Sadly, though, as they grow older, they will begin to understand that their father was not only convicted of killing their mother, but that he also planned it. Maddie loved her children more than anything else on this earth. Her efforts to make sure that her children's future included their father were slashed by that very same father. I will never understand a father who could and did do this to his children. He took away a mother's love, the type of love that only Maddie could give them. The knowledge of this horror will haunt me forever. All that Adam had to do was walk away and let Maddie go. He chose not to do that. He chose evil over good, forever causing emotional harm to his own children. All of us in Maddie's immediate family, her extended family, and her friends will make sure that the children will grow up knowing their mother's love. It's the best that we can do, yet it will never be enough because we can't get her back, and she can't be with her precious children. Maddie was undoubtedly one of the most genuinely beautiful souls I've ever known in my life. I'm grateful for the time that I had with her and that I was able to be loved by her, and I couldn't have loved Maddie more if she had been my biological child. This spunky little spirit of a girl had my heart from the beginning. Never again will we have our long talks and share our hopes, our joys, our sorrows, and concerns in life. I'll never again be able to hear her singing in the kitchen or laugh with her or hear her walk in the door and say, "I'm home." Every day I wake up and my first realization is that she's gone and she's not coming back. Her loss in my life is irreparable. I have now lost 2 daughters, one of whom was purposely taken from us. I thank the court for this opportunity to be heard, and I support a life sentence without parole.
Thank you, Ms. Kingsbury. And thank you, Ms. Miller. For that second victim impact.
Your Honor, this is the victim impact statement of Stephen Kingsbury, Madeline's brother. Your Honor, it is a struggle to attempt to summarize on paper the immeasurable impact that this incident has had on our entire family. The murder of my younger sister, Madeline Jane Kinsgbury, has created without a doubt a multi-generational wound that will take an untold number of years to heal. For some, it may never. The overwhelming grief and guilt of those closest to the situation, not only geographically, but those with intimate knowledge of the patterns of control and abuse exhibited by the defendant over the years toward Madeline, I'm certain will be haunted forever by the thought that their efforts, if made at all to intervene, were not good enough to defeat the evil that clouded her day-to-day life. The double life she lived was imposed by one individual. The meticulously thought out, painstakingly crafted, self-serving environment and mechanisms were created by leveraging her good nature, optimism, emotional weakness, fears, and love of her children. Madeline had everything to look forward to in life, a promising career path, and the joy of raising her children to adulthood, maybe even to see grandchildren of her own one day. There's truly no limit on how much of a gift she was and would have been to those who loved her, those she loved, and the world around her. Despite the conditions she endured, Madeline was making her way in the world in a very meaningful and impactful fashion. Simply put, she was robbed in the most permanent of ways: brutal, deliberate, hands-on violence. From my experience as a service member with 3 combat tours, I can without a doubt state with full belief and or opinion that the way she was stolen from this world was carried out with the most intimately savage intentions and actions a human being can visit on another. As involved and personal as it gets, and there are no half measures or fumblings if there's an end state in mind by the perpetrator. This was not for any cause other than self-centered fear, greed, embarrassment, and personal failings of the guilty party as a functioning member of society, partner, a father, and a man, being past and present extremely subpar in all these respects. What has happened is so complexly tragic that mentally unpacking and examining it all is an arduous labor with what at times seems to have no end. For many, there isn't one. The verdict in this case brings about some measure of closure, knowing what the sentence generally entails. But for most of us, closure is a hollow term. My parents have still lost a child, my siblings and I a sister. Most heart-wrenching, her 2 innocent children are robbed of their mother. Children are supposed to be innocent. In an effort to preserve this, they only know that mommy and daddy are both gone. They use words that have no meaning to them, as told to them by others, to try to understand concepts and realities that will have no true substance until they're old enough to be told what has transpired. It will always have to be considered the impact this will have on their lives, how it will potentially steer the course for the people they grew up to be. It's a challenge that will be constant for them in varying degrees. They will know of their mother, they will know what happened to her, and why she isn't there to shepherd them through this world in a way that only a loving mother can. No earthly atonement for her murder will measure up to match the gravity of the sin. It's my opinion that for any persons who commit a crime so specifically motivated by greed and the narcissistic need for control, and who can for no justified reason snuff out another soul with such arrogance and casual disregard for life, there are no earthly works or repentance that can reshape said person's nature at its core for real change. That power lies with God alone. I submit in the end, all will be judged accordingly. We extend our utmost gratitude to all parties involved in bringing justice in accordance with our laws. It can never be understated how much our family appreciates all tireless, relentless work effort. Truth and right have prevailed regardless of obstacles. Let it be heard that everyone has the ability to create positive change in the lives of those around them. Actions are often greater than words. We have a responsibility to each other as human beings to take steps to intervene and assist in times of crisis, especially for those who are too broken or lost to advocate for themselves. I would like to thank the court for hearing this statement, Victim Services for reading it aloud in my stead, and all present to hear.